Today's story begins with the appearance of goblins inside one of the caves. Gathering around one of the goblins who is dead, says one of the goblins. The leader is dead. Now, the leader's weapon is mine now. I am the leader, says the goblin next to the dead leader. You're talking nonsense. He tells him, I'm the leader. He replies, go to hell. He gets angry at him and goes to subjugate him. The remaining goblins enjoy the view. The goblins say, the leader has left us prey. Let us go and take it. But the goblins who guard the prey are about to return. A goblin appears wearing a robe of human clothing. The goblins say that he is the one who guards the prey. What a disgusting creature that covers his body like a human. He knows where the prey is. He will definitely keep the prey for himself. Let us follow him. Goblin says, wait a minute. Some men have already gone to find the prey earlier. They are strong men. Once they start fighting, we will go. The prey guard says, damn. He hears the sound of the prey screaming, leave me, help, stay away from me. He goes quickly towards her, glory, someone help me. I don't want to give birth to goblin children. The goblin guard tells them to stop. She looks at him and is afraid, crying, and says to him, help me, please help me. The guard says, guys, let her go. The goblin tells him that it is you again, this monster. The leader is dead. This prey is mine. If you dare and take my prey, you will die. He says to the goblins, kill him. The goblins go towards him to kill him. He says, fuck these goblins. I can't believe that even these goblins are low level. The goblins attack her. He says, I cannot die here. I have to stay alive. He takes out his knife and wounds some of the goblins. The goblins look at him. They are afraid, and they say, go with him as a weapon. The woman who is being guarded by the goblin goes and says to him, hey, goblin, are you okay? Thank you for saving me again. You didn't hurt me, and you kept protecting me. You really are a different goblin. Please don't die. He says to himself, a different goblin, but I was once human too. My name is Lin Tian, and until a few days ago, I was a typical young man who grew up under the red flag. But I did not expect that instead of dying after being hit by a truck, I would be transported to another world with order. Even though I have the system in place, it is not fully activated other than being able to see some stats. It does not seem to have any other functionality. However, I have not been idle. These past few days, from what this woman has told me, I have gained some understanding of this world. This world created by kings contains many powerful monsters, and humans have made their place on this continent with their strength. But the goblin that I reincarnated into is the weakest and most capable monster in this world. My stats are really low, and even among goblins, I can be killed easily. Status name Lintian race goblin level 5, class none health, 20 out of 20 strength, 5 defense, 5 skills race devouring genes, equipment, rough stone, knife combat strength total 30. He says there is a way to become stronger, which is by mating with these girls. The goblins have the ability to become stronger through mating and continuous reproduction, but they do not have females of the same kind as themselves. So in order to reproduce, they can only mate with other female creatures, and that's why they are constantly being preyed on. But I'm used to being a human, so doing such things is actually. The woman he is guarding tells him, hey, don't worry, after spending these days with you, I understand now, you're completely different. You don't really want to live with these goblins, do you? Don't worry, when the knight orders a rescue, I will tell them that you saved me. The knight's orders are permanent. Justice. They will definitely agree to let you live in the village. The goblin guardian says to himself, she is not wrong. Even if the system cannot be activated, as long as I wait for the humans to come to rescue and protect them, I can survive first, and then figure out how to activate this system slowly. Suddenly, he hears a noise, and he says to me, damn, these goblins are coming back. He tells her to hide. The goblins are screaming, saying, there is a human there. I want to mate. If she reads, it means that he will not be killed. The guard will eliminate him and say to her, hey, it seems that humans have come to save you. She hears the news and becomes happy. She says, really? This holy matter must be great. Let's go check it. She quickly goes toward it. The knight appears, killing some goblins. He says, "Damn, these filthy creatures. They tore my sacred order uniform." Status name Loader race human level 25. Class swordsman health 200. Out of 200 strength 30. Defense 50 skills sword Kai. Strike sword. Dance holy skill. Sword. Return to heaven equipment sword of justice platinum sword A. The goblin guard says she's the first woman I've seen with such high statistics since coming here. Is this really a human? They dealt easily with these goblins. The woman tells him, "Commander, we are here," and goes towards him. He tells her, "No, wait, be careful." The knight attacks her with his sword, but surely the guard goes to save her from the attack, and says to himself, "Aren't they here to save people? Why are they attacking? Is the cave now so dark?" He thought this boy was a goblin. The knight says that it is shameful for a goblin to be able to avoid his attack. The woman says to him, "Commander, this is me, Kilya." The knight tells her, "Be silent, Kilya. I know it is you, but you have been ravaged by goblins. Perhaps you carry a goblin child within you. It is ridiculous for a filthy person like you to expect mercy from me. Go to repent of your sins to the great holy mother." Kilya says, "Commander, wait. Even though he was arrested, I was not desecrated by the goblins. It was him. This goblin was protecting me." The knight tells her, "If you are going to make up stories, at least make them believable. Do you consider me a fool? Go and meet your end with these dirty creatures." The goblin guard says, "I can't believe this." He goes to the knight and says, "Run away. There is a way out on this road. Get out of here." The knight is preparing to strike, and the goblin says, "Damn it. I did not expect this ending." A voice is heard from behind. Wait for the Lord to protect the goblin. A beautiful woman appears, who appears to be the Holy Virgin, and says, "This goblin seems a little strange, Kilya." The Holy Virgin says, "Help, saint. Save me, O Holy Virgin." Can Jesset go to the goblin guard and say to him, "Can you understand my words?" He says to himself that the Saint Virgin Everia, the spokeswoman for the temple they talked about, "If I want to leave here, this may be my only hope." He says to her, "Yes, I can. You are the Holy Virgin they mentioned, right? I am not actually a monster from this world. I am used to being a human being. I became like this because of an accident. I can explain everything if I go with you." The knight says he seems smarter than those goblins. This is very rare. The saint says, "Well, goblins are usually stupid and mean creatures. They can't speak and think fluently. It might be a gift from the Holy Mother." Saint Kilya asks if this goblin really did not harm you. She says, "Yes, he not only did he harm me, but he also protected me from other goblins and gave me food." The saint says, "Okay, since it is a very special case, let us take it first. We will study the matter well before making the decision." The saint says to him, "Are you ready?" The goblin guard says, "I am ready to go with you." He says to himself, "Finally, someone who can listen to logic. And since staying means death, it is better for me to go back and prove my innocence." Saint, "Okay, let's go then." Lord Goblin. The guard says, "Thank you for your kindness. I will pay this debt to you appropriately." She looks at him and says, "Of course." Suddenly, Lord stabs Kilya the goblin. The guard hears a voice. He looks back and finds Kilya lying on the ground, looking at her in astonishment. The saint tells him, with the face of a devil, that when we return, you had better repay me well. The story moves to a group of young men who gathered and said that this attack by the goblins had caused great damage to the Shining City. The goblins used malicious attacks to kill 30 of our residents. The goblins cursed an eye for an eye and blood for blood. Humans and goblins are enemies. The saint and the knight lord appear in the arena, and the holy order tells them, on behalf of the temple, to cleanse these goblins and avenge the damaged city. The saint tells them to continue praying sincerely. The temple will always be protected. Her loyal followers go to Kadisha's library. She says today's sermon was a success. They are fools, as usual. Now, they will pray with greater devotion to the temple and offer more sacrifices. The goblin guard appears injured, and she has gouged out his eye. Iveria tells her, "You vile woman, tells him, still alive. How vital, how strong. No wonder the temple can't eliminate the goblins from the continent this time. Let's see how the poison affects the goblins. The goblin guard says, "You deceived me. You deceived everyone and killed Kilya." He shouts at her while he is angry. "This is your sacred system. These are your so-called human customs." The saints insert a stick into his mouth and say, "How strange that a weak and insignificant creature like you is a lustful imp who dares to question the justice of humans. Kilya says she was enchanted by you and dared to talk to you. This is a betrayal of humanity. Death was her final fulfillment. Goblins are nothing more than insects on this continent. For the Holy Virgin to speak with you is a great honor. You should be grateful and use your disgusting little body to contribute to the experiments of the human and sacred order." She activates the spell on him. He says, "Am I going to die? I don't want to. It's all my fault. I reincarnated from a human into a low-level goblin and foolishly clung to human compassion, believing that they were just and kind. Weakness and naivety were my most fatal mistakes. After I was brought back to the human city, Lord and Averia tortured me in every way possible, and they did not believe a single word I said. I wouldn't last long if I was played to death by a woman. If I could redo things, I would never trust people. If I could redo things, I certainly would. I will crush their bones and drink their blood. If I can live again, suddenly its color and shape change. It seems in another world." It says, "Am I still alive? Where is this place?" Status: the goblin life simulation system has been activated. Evaluation: the evaluation is complete. You are dead because of your foolishness. You forgot that you are a goblin. Humans will never trust goblins, and do not pity them. You died after you were exposed. For torture and torment, the pain of this week of torture is engraved in your soul. You will never forget the pain that humans brought to you. Your end is one of the worst fates for any person moving between worlds. Do you want to start over? He says, "This is my personal system. It only activates after death. Can this system bring me back to life? But it seems that I will be reborn as the most despicable goblin creature. What should I do?" The system shows a notification saying, "Inform the host. If you choose no, you will die. If you choose yes, you will retain your memory and your current system and will return to the goblin cave in a week." He says, "With memory and going back a week, I understand now. This is an opportunity to take revenge on Lord." And Ivrea agrees, "Yes." System: the second goblin life begins. Move to the goblin cave. The second goblin life begins. The system has helped you stay alive a little longer, so the system has strengthened you a little. He says that it is really only a little, but it is worse than nothing, I think. The system is a warning that even though you have been born again, the danger is not over yet. The human sacred system is about to reach the host. Please note that if you die again, the system will not be able to revive the host. He says, as expected, "It's about to arrive. I can't lower my guard. What can you do?" The system tells him that the system is called the Goblin Life Simulation System. The host can simulate his life with this system to predict future events. Please note that each choice the host makes will lead to different results. Each simulation takes 24 hours, and after the simulation ends, you will get points that can be exchanged to obtain items. The Goblin Guardian says it is a simulation, meaning one can see the future. Start the simulation immediately. System current scenario: escape from the Afrit Cave. To discover the Holy Night Loader. The Efreet Cave. You are in escape from the Holy Night Loader. You have to make the following choice. The first option is to warn the goblins and unite to confront Loader and his men. Points are 10. The second option is to abandon the other goblins and escape. Points are 5. The third option is to hide in the cave and pray that Loader and his men do not find you. Points are 0. The goblin guard says to himself, "Although there are 3 options, I'm sure that even if all the goblins in the cave unite, they won't be able to confront Loader alone. Which is the only way to save me?" He plays the first option and says, "Try the first simulation, and tell the most dangerous option that got the highest score if you can replace it with a weapon." System: you led the ORCs in a desperate Battle against Loader. Due to the large gap in power, you were killed by Loader and his men. You overestimate the strength of the goblins. Summary: before making a decision, know your strength. Points gained: 10. The Goblin Guard says, just as I thought. Relying on the goblins here, it is impossible to survive. But I got the points to open the exchange store. The Goblin Guard says there are a lot of weapons that can be exchanged. But my points are very low. This dagger costs 10 points. A fast, lightweight blade made by elves. Speed 10. Strength 15. A small dagger made by elves, fragile, but very sharp. He buys it, and says what a sharp dagger it is. It is a far cry from African weapons. If you hit a vital place, the blow could be fatal. Why didn't I see Killia? Where did the system go? Because the host was reborn. Some details of the timeline had changed. Killia wasn't captured by the goblins. She still lives happily in the city. I understand. It seems that I have fulfilled my promise to Killia. In this case, I have no more worries. I have to run away and survive. This is the narrowest corridor, and the entrance outside is smaller, so the guards will be relatively weaker at the corridor gate. The guards say, these goblins are really disgusting. The second guard says, hold on. This job is really easy for us. This entrance is small. Any goblin that runs outside is trash. I can crush him with one hit. Do not forget that Lord Lauder ordered the killing of any girl who tries to escape in this chaos. We cannot let this reach the city. The Goblin Guard says, fuck the Holy Order. They kill even the innocent of their own kind. What about a goblin of my gender? I have no choice but to fight. He changes his voice and shouts for help. I am a girl from the Shining City. I was captured by goblins. The guard says, kill this tramp, and Lord Lauder will reward me. He goes to the cave, hiding a knife behind his back, and says, come out, do not be afraid. I am one of the knights. I'm here to bring you back. The Goblin Guard comes out quickly towards the guard, carrying the knife. The second guard says to him, why are you standing? Hurry. The Goblin Guard approaches, hiding behind the guard, and attacks him. He says, what is happening? A goblin hurts him and drops him on the ground. The guard says, you can speak the human language. The goblin turns towards him and tells him, pardon me, please let me go. I have a family and a daughter waiting for me to return home. The guard tells him, you are smart. You must understand that. I am just following orders. I was forced to come here. I will give you a bag of gold coins. Yes, and a little girl. I will bring you a fresh human boy. Think about the benefits I offer. He says to himself, as he hides his knife behind his back, there is a chance that if he approaches me, he will attack him and say, stupid monster is death. But the Goblin Guard will kill him. He hears some voices, and says it is Lord's voice. They are chasing us. He takes someone's clothes and goes, and says we will meet soon. Lord Averia appears, looking at the guards. The knight accompanying her says, what happened? Could it be that there were goblins that escaped from the net? The goblins say whoever can kill these two must be a mutant. The accompanying knight says yes, he must be a mutant. If he runs away, this is not good. He kicks the guards lying on the ground, and says they can't deal with even one useless mutant goblin. Lord says the mutant goblin must be fun. If they can catch him, then I will definitely have some fun with him. He runs away into the forest, saying, I finally survived. Since you all hate goblins so much, I will deal with you the way goblins do. Goblins have the ability to upgrade through mating and devouring, and as my statistics increase, they give birth to stronger offspring and expand my influence in this life. I will make every man's desire to die, and make every woman wail and wail at my feet. Suddenly, there is a noise behind the trees. He says, is it possible that Lord and his group have chased me? He decides to attack first to get the upper hand. He says, from there, a goblin appears from behind the trees, but she trips over a stone and falls to the ground. Why does he have feminine characteristics? As far as I know, goblins are only male, which is why they can only reproduce by mating with other species. The goblin says, please don't hurt me. I was just getting water. He says to himself, what is happening? How can this goblin speak in complete sentences? Status: small goblin. 3rd level. Race, goblin. Category, messenger of the ruler. Titles, female goblin. Fallen ruler, pure soul, blessing of the ruler. Health 10, strength 2. Defense 1, skills devoured genes and wild growth. Equipment none, total 10. If a male goblin mates with a female goblin, the male goblin will become the legendary goblin. The goblin says, "What? Mating with her can make me the ruler of the goblins." Which means that if you interrupt him and say that I was sent by the chief to fetch water, if I don't get water, he will beat me to death. She is afraid of him. He tells her, "Sorry, I didn't mean that. Don't cry." If she continues crying, she will attract Odor and his group. The goblin tells him, "You can talk too." He tells her, "Sure," and talk. He says to himself, "That's right. Ordinary goblins can't talk." They probably didn't talk much with the other members of the tribe. The goblin says to him, "You are very nice. The other goblins only beat and scold me. This is the first time someone took such kind care of me. If you have nowhere to go, why don't you return to my tribe with me?" He is surprised and says, "Are there goblins around?" He says to himself, "I cannot be sure if Lord is still following us. This is not the right time to mate. The priority is to find a safe place." The goblin says to him, "Yes, I will take you to the tribe." He says, "I was just worried about where to recruit followers," and he says while he is happy, "Take me to your tribe." You take him to the tribe. The goblins say, "Why is he wearing human clothes? I have never seen a strange creature like this before." The goblin guard says to himself, "There are a lot of goblins in this tribe. Let's start from here." He tells them, "I am here to join you. Let me see your leader." He says to the goblins, "Someone from the outside wants to see the leader." No one from the outside can see him. Let us arrest him first, then take him to the leader. The goblin tries to protect the goblin guard and tells them that he is not a bad person. The leader comes out and says, "Why are you all here?" Status Grand Goblin, level 25, race goblin. Class priest. Title reproduction. Machine cunning old man. Blessing ruler. Health 102, strength 29, defense 17, skills. Devouring genes. Summoning fork control equipment stick. The leader says, "Who is making all this noise?" The goblin, the guardian of himself, says, "There is a goblin with such a high level in this tribe." The leader says, "Are you the one who brought the stranger?" The goblin says, "Yes, I brought him. He has nowhere to go." The leader says, "Very well, kill this stranger and eat the goblin." The guard takes out his knife and says, "Wait, I can make weapons. Let me join you, I can make you stronger." The leader tells them, "Slow down, you don't seem like a liar. Tell me what weapons you can make." The goblin guard says, "If I find iron ore, I can make simple tools from iron. Give me some time and I will make better weapons than these handmade ones." He says to himself, "This idiot can speak complete sentences." It seems that the higher the level of the goblins, the greater his wisdom. He tells him that with the presence of iron weapons, we can defeat monsters and humans. You can win. Some goblins say with iron weapons, we will go north and mate with the elves. The leader says, "I will give you this opportunity within 3 days. If I find iron ore and make iron weapons, I will leave you alive. If you don't make it, I'll kill you too." The guardian goblin says to himself, "This old goblin is really cruel when he gets angry. He has no mercy even on members of his own tribe. I can't face him now. I will make some iron weapons to buy some time and become stronger." They go to the forest to search for iron ore. The goblin says, while she is tired, wait for me. I have been walking all day. I am a little tired, and I cannot walk." One of the goblins hits her and tells her, "Fuck you, you ugly one. If you don't find the iron ore, I will kill you." She says, "It hurts me. Don't hit me. I won't do that again." The goblins beat her. The goblin guard hits her on the head with a stone and says, "I brought you to help me find iron ore, not to fight. I told you what iron ore looks like, and if you want to survive, go to the valley ahead and find pieces of iron ore for me, otherwise everyone will die." He says, "If iron ore is found, we will make weapons and kill everyone. Go quickly." The goblins say, "When we find the iron ore, the president will not let you. The goblin guard says to himself, what he says is true. Even if we make weapons, he will kill us in the end. The system shows a notification that if a male goblin mates with a female goblin, he will become the legendary male goblin. He says to himself, it's time to think about how to become stronger. He says to her, why are you crying? Do you want to stay with me? If you stay with me, I will protect you. I will give you food and a warm place to live, and no one will dare to harass you. She says to him, while she is really crying. He says to her, of course, I promise that, but now we are weak, and in order not to be harassed, I need your help to become stronger. The goblin says, how can I become stronger? He says, if you want to stay with me and have children, I will become stronger. The goblin mates with the goblin. Notification from the system. In the future, the host and the goblin will have a group of 7 children, which will raise the maximum level. Due to the maximum efficiency, attack characteristics are increased by 9, health points are increased by 100, and defense are increased by 10. The goblin guard says to himself, not only has my level increased, but my physical condition has also improved. In this way, the chances of winning against the goblin priest increase. Afzal tells her, you are Maki, I will protect you for the rest of my life. Suddenly, he hears the voice of a goblin wanting to help. A magical wolf is chasing me, and running away from the wolf, while carrying the iron ore. The goblin guard says to himself, this man found the iron ore, but he brought some small problems with him. He decides to go get rid of the magic wolf and save the goblin. He goes straight to the wolf and stabs him in the neck, making him fall to the ground. He goes to the goblin, his strength has increased, and he says, well done, give me the iron ore. Good job, look for more, I will make you a weapon. The story moves us to the tribe. The goblin guard says, okay, this should serve the purpose. He says to the tribe leader, watch closely, this is a weapon I made from iron ore. One of the goblins says, I am not lying. He used the weapon to kill the magic wolf and saved us. The goblin says, this iron spear is much better than the stone spear. The goblin guard says, do you want some? The goblins go to him and say, yes, we do. The leader says he was not lying. He can really make iron tools, but if you want to survive, it is not that simple. Make 50 of these weapons in 2 days. The goblins say the leader is becoming as evil as humans. Make more weapons, Brother Lin, I can help. The story moves to the day of the delivery. The goblin guard collects the weapons and takes them to the leader. He says you did it really, very well. Tonight, everyone feast on meat. They celebrate Lin Tian's joining us. They prepare a dinner feast. The goblin says to him, this is the special gift that the priest has kept for you. He eats the meat but gets poisoned. The leader poisoned the gift. The leader arrives and says, you are very stupid. I thought you were very smart. Stranger, do not think that I do not see your ambition. You dare to challenge the authority of this priest. There is only one way out. He goes to the goblin and takes her by the head, while she is crying in pain, and says you care about her, don't you? So enjoy watching this traitor get her head cut off with your knife. Suddenly, the goblin guard rushes towards the leader and cuts off his arm. The leader says, how could you? The goblin guard says to him, you are the stupid one here, old man. He says to himself, I already knew from the regime that you were going to poison me. I was just pretending. The leader goes to kill the goblin guard, but the goblin guard cuts off the leader's head. He looks at the goblins and says, from today, I am your new leader. I will lead you to attack the elves and attack the humans. We will have endless meat. That will give the ORCs the flesh of the previous leader. He says to himself, controlling the goblin tribe is just the beginning of revenge. After that, I will make the elves help our tribe produce stronger generations. A spy from the Jinn tribe appears, hiding behind the trees, and says, what is going on here? She quickly goes to the tribe, looking for her mother. One of her Jinn, Smoke. The lady is busy. Prince Ali tells her about urgent news. She enters her mother without asking her permission and says, Mother, I have urgent news to tell you about the strange forest to the east. She looks at her mother with some bowls around her and says, I beg your pardon, I will be back. No, really, since you're busy at the moment. Mrs. Toole tells her to slow down. My little one, you came to see me in a hurry. What do you have? The princess says, I have some important news about the goblin tribe in the forest. The lady says the goblins are weak, dirty, low-level creatures. What's wrong with the princess? She says I found a huge black bear that devoured it in the forest this morning. The effects of fighting and hunting surrounding the area appeared to be the work of goblins, and it is known that the black bear is one of the fiercest beasts that is impossible for them to kill. A few days ago, I saw their former leader killed by a young man who might be behind it. The lady says there is a new leader. It seems that the forest goblins will become stronger soon. Princess Cassandra, take some of your companions to wipe them out and kill them all, but leave some. The princess says, I ask your permission, mother. I will investigate again and inform you of the latest developments. Events move to the new leader, the Goblin Guardian, as they plan an attack on the Elven tribe. One of the goblins says, there are about 30 houses in the Jinn forest, and they are all tall. The new leader says, well done. You will be rewarded with 2 genies when we defeat them, so take your weapons. One of the goblins goes to the rest to tell them to prepare. The new leader says that he has 30 wooden houses, and assuming their average, there are 60 people in each house, in addition to dozens of workers in the mines, no less than 70. After the wise man died, I led the goblins searching for weapons and chasing them, monsters to increase their levels. He and the tribe members go to the forest to fight monsters. He acquires several skills while fighting monsters in the forest. After finishing fighting the monsters, Inzamam tells him that thanks to the skill of swallowing goblins, the tribe gained many skills that improved their overall level. The little goblin's total points have reached 250. The new leader says to himself, the total strength of each goblin is approximately 200. He says we have to be careful, since we will attack them suddenly. System, let the simulation begin. The system starts simulating the life of goblins. The current event is the night before the attack. Here you are leading your reinforced army of goblins to launch an attack on the Jinn tribe. What you did not expect was that you would fall into a trap set by the Jinn, and your army would be hit by arrows. So you were arrested and hanged in the forest as an example to others. He said to himself, at that end, I will be under the control of others. One possibility for this outcome is that the tribe is monitored by elves. The goblins have a well-developed sense of smell and hearing. By concentrating on them, they will find the hidden evidence. He focuses on his senses of smell and hearing and finds a spy hiding behind the trees. He goes towards him. The princess, who was watching the goblins, said, their tribe wanted to infiltrate and attack the elves. Indeed, I did not expect their radical change in a few days. Let us hasten the queen's announcement. But they attacked them with arrows, and the arrows hit the princess and whoever was with him. The new leader says, I did not expect to catch you so easily. You have arrived at the right time. The goblins are ordered to take them all. The story moves to the tribe. Go, the leader who catches the spies. Sun says to one of the goblins, this is the Jinn. I reserved it for you only. I was waiting for you. The leader says to himself, it seems that the goblins' bodily fluids have a special effect in causing paralysis and stimulating female creatures. This gives them a better chance of winning against the elves. She says to them, a spy. Oh, obedient creatures. How dare you kidnap this princess and even try to attack the elves? You think you are strong, but for my mother's kindness, creatures like you would have been eliminated by the elves a long time ago. If even the pictures touch a part of me, my mother will not let you go. The new leader says, how amusing. It seems that the elves you are talking about and the elves my followers are talking about are completely different. His followers may be fools, but they never lie. There is no need for further explanation. I will lead the tribe tonight, and we will reveal the truth. I tell one of his followers, go and marry the other 2 elves, swallow them and absorb their skills. As for you, the new leader mates with the elves. Notice from the system, congratulations. I have reached the limit of level 30. The elves' stealth skill has been obtained. The elves' night vision skill has been obtained. The story moves to the queen of the elves. She says to one of the elves, "Aren't you Kasana anymore?" The elves say to her, "Yes, our holy mother. She left a long time ago, and she should have returned by now." "Holy mother, I think we should send some people to inspect it, as it would be a good opportunity to kill some goblins and raise the levels of our tribe's warriors." The queen tells him, "Well, take some warriors to the goblin tribe to support the princess." Suddenly, they hear a voice telling them that the princess will not return tonight. They shoot arrows at the queen, and some of her followers say goblins. The new leader of the goblins says the princess has already been arrested and soon she will give birth to my child. We will become a family now. The queen takes her sword and goes towards him, and she is angry. She says, "What have you done to my princess?" He says to her, "What do you think? Your tribe has been besieged. Surrender voluntarily, and I will consider treating you well." But she falls to the ground after touching the arrow. The new leader says that the arrow she just shot at you was covered in goblin fluids. Once you touch it, you will quickly be paralyzed. While I was outside, I heard you talking about upgrading your warriors and stimulating potions. So it turns out that the elves have always used ORCs this way. But I think you did not expect that the goblins would come one day to settle their scores with you, elves. The queen mother says to herself, "Could this goblin be the new leader that the princess was talking about?" The new leader of the goblins says, "It seems the time has come. Kill them." He takes out the knife and places it on the queen's neck and says, "Okay, now is the time to talk about cooperation." The queen hears their screams and the goblins kill them. They say, "Holy Mother, save him. We do not want the goblins to take us." The queen screams and says, "What have you done to my tribe?" I say, "The new leader of the goblins." Now, the goblins are not weaker than the elves, so you do not have the ability to resist. When the elves had the power, they slaughtered the Apharites. So it is natural for them to feel revenge when they became powerful. I advise you to face reality. We need more stronger and more powerful goblin warriors, so we need you as to whether they will live or die after achieving this. It all depends on your position. As Holy Mother, the queen tells him, "As long as you don't kill the children, as long as they are still alive, I can do whatever you want me to do. I am ready to bring them to stay with you and have your children." Events move to the goblin tribe, and the Holy Queen Mother appears before us, holding a pipe next to her children. The princess says to the queen, "Even you were captured by goblins. What will we do in the future?" The queen says to the princess, "I apologize, my daughter. It's my fault. I evaluated them wrongly. I did not expect the goblins to have much power over the elves. Now, there are only women and children left of the elves. To preserve our lineage, we need to mate with the goblins. From now on, we can only stay within the goblin tribe." The new leader of the goblins says to the queen and her followers, "You must all stay inside the camp, and I will arrange your meals daily. If anyone has bad intentions, don't blame me. If I kill you all," the queen says to him, "I understand, but I have a request. These are all my children. Can I take care of them?" The female demon tells him, "I can't take care of them all alone." Then let her help. From now on, she can take care of the children. The new goblin leader says to himself, "When they grow up, these children can also add great power to the tribe." Let's take a look at the statistics after mating with the Holy Mother. System congratulations to the host for getting the multiplier boost, which adds 200 health, 30 strength, and 30 defense. He says to himself, "Could it be that my qualifications have already been unlocked to the highest level?" Recently, all acquired values have been directly converted into attributes. It seems that from now on all he has to do to increase my strength is continue to mate with stronger individuals and make them give birth. His current strength is already enough to crush a loader. After this species gives birth, I am looking for an opportunity to deal with him. Half a month after the elves were detained in the goblin tribe, some of the elves gave birth to goblin children, but they did not accept the goblin children as their own. One of the elves said, "Oh my God, is this my child? How disgusting. Stay away from me. I don't want to have this type of child." It's terrifying. The new goblin leader asks the female goblin how many elven births we have so far. The female goblin tells him that the number of births so far has reached 40. Suddenly, the leader of the goblins hears the screams of the elven princess, and she responds, but she cannot give birth to her child. She screams and says, "I cannot do this anymore." The queen says, "Please save her. It is the first time she has given birth, and it seems that she is about to die. Do you know how to do this?" He goes to help her give birth and tells her, "I know a little." He helps her give birth to her child and goes to wash his hand. He hears one of the elves screaming, and she says, "Let me go." Some goblins are trying to mate with the elves, but the leader of the goblins goes to them and takes out the knife and tells them, and he is the one who did it, to wait until they completely rest and recover before allowing them to reproduce. Whoever disobeys this, except the punishment is death. The queen, the saint of the elves, says to him, "You are different from the rest of the goblins." The leader tells her, "This is what must be done. As long as you behave well, you will be treated better." Suddenly, the system shows a scenario for stimulating life. The current scenario begins with the arrest of the elves. After a lot of effort, the Jinn tribe invaded and carried off all the Jinn females. After the Jinn becomes pregnant, she gives birth to a goblin with stronger characteristics than normal goblins. Given that the tribe is about to expand, she decides to take revenge on the Lord and the others. You infiltrate his shining country alone and succeed in locating the group of sword heroes. Choice number 1: take action yourself and attempt to kill the loader and others. Rating 50. Choice number 2: lead the goblins to take revenge and commit a massacre in Shining Town. Rating 30. Choice number 3: wait and watch. If you think the timing is not right yet, watch for a longer period. Rating 10. He says to himself, "How could you find them so quickly?" Although his current strength is almost equal to that of Loader, the strength of his comrades should not be underestimated. The life characteristics should allow me to easily kill Loader. He chooses the number 1 option. Take action yourself and attempt to kill Loader and the others. Rating 50. The stimulating life scenario begins now. Finally, she found an opportunity to attack Loader when he was alone. She decided to strike decisively, and Loader was almost killed in the process. However, at that moment, Loader's teacher, the Sword Saint of the human race, appeared. The Sword Saint saved Loader and died horribly under her sword. Soon Loader and his group returned to the capital and never saw him again. Summary: facing the powerful Sword Saint, there was no chance of escape. You must be careful. Score: 30 points out of 100. Reward: 30 points. Shame: the stimulating life scenario was completed. With time advancing by 9 days, I say the new leader of the goblins himself is a sword saint from the human race. Why would a strong personality appear like this in a small place? I did not expect Loader and his group to leave the sunny town. Once they leave, it will be difficult to find them again. It seems that I need to hurry. He goes to his demon, Yo, and tells her that I need to go to the human lands for a few days. The warriors in the tribe listen to you more than others, so I will leave the tribe in your hands. The queen of the elves says to him, "Are you crazy? If you are discovered by humans in the lands of one day, you will be crushed and killed." He says, "You know that I have a grudge against humans. I must seek revenge." The queen of the elves says, "Wait. Don't act recklessly. Why don't you let me help you? I can cast a spell that hides you so that the skin does not reveal you." The new leader says to the queen, "I did not expect you to care about my safety. How rare this happens." She is just afraid of the goblins. They will be more cruel to us if I die. Besides, my children are all here. Only if you return safely will we be safe. The leader says to himself, "This holy mother really knows how to survive." The demon Yulin Tian tells him, "I will take care of the tribe for you." The leader of the goblins goes to the bright town and monitors the place. He says to himself, "There is another patrol team here. The defenses around the city have suddenly become very tough. Is it possible that the Sword Saint has arrived?" but I've been gathering information all day and haven't heard any news about her. The goblin leader walks around the city and mixes with the people. He then decides to hurry and collect more information, but he stands at a bar and hears a voice saying, "Today is on my account. Let us all drink until we get drunk." This voice says to itself, "I should meet him here of all places." Lauder and his followers are quarreling among themselves, but the bar owner tells them that recently the dragons on Dragon Island have entered the breeding season, and they are kidnapping livestock from the shepherds and even eating humans. If you have the skills, go and slay dragons and do not cause problems in the tavern. If the dragons attack the town, it is bright, and the capital does not send reinforcements in time, the adventurers in the town will not be able to repel the attacks of the dragon horde. It seems that the bright town is about to face darkness. Loader says it's just a few dragons. What's there to be afraid of at this point? There's no need to hide it any longer. The Sword Saint is my lady, and as soon as she arrives, we will unite our forces to kill the dragons. There is no need for the capital to send troops at all, and when everything is resolved, our team will return to the capital with the saint. Loader's followers say that Loader was even able to summon the Sword Saint. With the Sword Saint here, why would we still be afraid to fight against dragons? Loader gets up, throws some money, and says, "Today, I will invite all of you brave warriors to drink, to celebrate the arrival of the Sword Saint and our success in slaying the dragons in advance." The new goblin leader says to himself, "If dragons attack the town, I must seize this opportunity." The goblin leader decides to leave, but Loader calls out to him, "Hey you, why don't you stay and have some drinks with us?" The leader of the goblins says, "No, there will be more opportunities in the future." The structure of the story moves to the Sword Saint while she is in the church. Lauder tells her, "My lady, dragons are lurking around us these days and approaching us. No one dares to let their animals out to graze, because it seems that dragons may attack the town of Sunshine soon." The Sword Saint gets up and grabs her sword and tells him how the mission she assigned you is going. Lauder tells her a prayer for the 10 bows that kill dragons, according to the plans provided, and are posted at various high points around the city. The Sword Saint says, "Spread it well, otherwise, none of you will be of use to me when the time comes, and it will be a shame for him." You come out of the church and find that some men are waiting to greet the saint. Lauder says, "This is an important period for us. What are you all doing standing here? Quickly disperse." Suddenly, dragons appear. The Sword Saint says that it is a detector dragon. Once it appears, it will definitely attract the horde of dragons. Loader, bring your comrades and follow me to the wall. The story moves to the leader of the goblins. One of the goblins comes and says to him, "Leader of the dragons, here you have gone to the country. Check it out. There are many soldiers on the city wall. What should we do, boss?" Leader said, "I know the time is approaching for us to stay here and enjoy the show." The Sword Saint shoots the bow towards the dragons in a swim to them. She says, "Do you understand how to use a dragon hunting bow? Everyone, get ready." There, her followers prepare bows prepared to hunt dragons and then shoot the dragons with bows to hit them. Looking at the sky, they sense the presence of a powerful dragon. A huge dragon appears. The guards say he is his father, the purple dragon. The difference is so great that even these bows cannot harm her. She shoots them with the creation that strikes the city. Most of the guards flee. The Master Saint says, "I will take care of my mother, the dragon," preparing to unleash the advanced sword technique. The rest say to continue protecting the city. They repel the dragon attack with the following windsword technique. The new leader of the goblins looks at the city and says to yourself, "I did not expect that you would be able to withstand the strength of his dragon father." 2 words, keep in mind, even though his dragon mother is unusually strong. The system shows him his father's data. Argon Dragon, Mist 97. Race, Ancient Dragon. Titles, Queen of Dragon Island. Health 4100. Strength 510. Defense 580. Skills Purple Dragon Flame. Transformation into a semi-human. Dragon Roar. Ancient Call. Total Power 2900. The goblin leader says to himself, but this creature is really a real monster. He looks at his saint. The elder appears. Alicina's poetry. Level 8. Race. Human. Occupation. Sword Saint. Titles. Sword Saint. Strongest sword fighter. Dragon slaying champion. Human elite. Martial arts genius. Health 1700. Strength 690. Defense 700. Skills fierce windsword. The unification of sword and man iron wind. Splitting the stars and cutting the moonsword. Cycle of the dead ancient sword will. Total strength 4000. He says this woman's strength is also unnatural. Fortunately, it's not me who's facing her. Otherwise, it would have been very annoying. The dragon father is a little weak compared to the saint, but her health is very high. The saint was unable to deal with the dragon father at the moment. This is a perfect opportunity to take revenge on the humans. According to the original plan, he tells the goblins to enter the city, a team to cause chaos, and a team. The test goes around the city. The Lord appears injured from the dragon attack. He says these flying dragons are very difficult, but monsters remain monsters. And if it were not for the teacher, I would not have been able to confront them. Suddenly, they distract the humans. There are goblins invading. The Lord looks at the fleeing humans and says, "No kidding? It is impossible for them to drag the goblins into appearing here." He looks at the goblins as they are invading those in the city. He says, "There are not many dragons left. You must be patient. Ifria, come with me to work with the goblins." He is chasing the goblins, but the goblins have prepared an ambush for him. They hunt him down, but Ivrea falls into the ambush. She shouts at the leader, "Commander, save me. The goblins have arrested me." But the leader is injured by arrows and cannot help her. He says, "Why are there so many goblins?" Some soldiers try to help him. The leader lord and his girlfriend. But the goblin leader reaches them. The leader of the goblins kills the soldiers. The leader and his companion look at him and are afraid. The leader of the goblins says, "I did not expect to capture you so easily." The Lord shouts in anger, "I will kill these bastard goblins." The goblin leader says, "Look carefully at the current situation before you speak. Take these two people from the sewers and get them out of the city. The rest go up to the city walls and go to the archers." Kadisha al-Saif looks at the city and says to herself, "How are the goblins being able to infiltrate at this time?" His mother, the purple dragon, has turned into a human. "It seems that you are in a difficult situation now, human sword saint." The sword saint says, "You can't even take care of yourself. I want to see how much dragon blood you can keep flowing." She attacks her. High steel wind, ultra sword technique. The sword saint said to herself, "The mother of dragons is about to be defeated. Call if the Lord has been able to deal with those dragons and goblins." Burst. "Is the chaos not resolved yet?" "These goblins came at the right time," said the dragon mother. "Goodbye, sword saint. When I recover from my injury, I will never let you go." The sword saint gets angry and says, "Damn it, I have already escaped. I will go to Dragon Island and annihilate them all." She goes to the city and searches for the Lord. She says, "Where are these idiots? They can't even kill goblins." Some soldiers tell her that Lord Wyveria has been captured by goblins. The saint is disturbed by the news and says, "How did this happen?" One of the goblin soldiers tells her that they are not normal. They are so strong that they are almost of the class of heroes. Even the Lord was unable to defeat them. The honorable saint decides to go and eliminate all the goblin tribes in the enchanted forest. But a woman from the city's residence goes to the saint and begs her, while crying, to stay here in the city. She says to her, "What if those dragons and goblins come back and attack us? What will we do?" Everyone who was present asks her to stay to protect them. They say, "Madam Saint, we are all subjects of the temple and the empire. Please keep," the saint saying to herself. It is true that protecting the temple's patronage is more important than helping a defeated team of heroes. "Lord, if you want to blame anyone, blame yourself for your weakness. You cannot even get rid of the goblins, so I will help you ask the royal family for help." The story moves to the goblin tribe. They are returning from the city, and they have 2 captives. One of the goblins tells them to stay calm. He looks at the elves present in the goblin tribe and says, "They have captured many elves as well." Ivrea says this is bad. There may be a hero in this tribe. The Lord asks her, "Are you okay? Have you regained your strength?" She tells him the poison is very strong, but my sacred body needs some time to purify it. The new goblin leader says, "I did not expect the poison to end its effect so quickly. Ivrea, the power of your healing is truly amazing." She tells him, "How do you know my name? Don't try to touch me." He grabs her by the leg forcefully, and she screams in pain. The Lord says, "Stop, you scoundrel." One of the goblins hits him and tells him, "Don't shout at the leader." The Lord says, "You are a smart goblin, aren't you? Have you thought about the consequences of arresting us? The power of the Sword Saint is capable of destroying your tribe with one blow." The goblin leader says that the Sword Saint is also my prey, but the time has not yet come. I also hid our traces. Even if she wanted to find us, she wouldn't be able to say, "No." One of the goblins, "You now take all the goblins of the 2nd generation and go to the forest to kill more monsters." The leader says to himself, "The attack this time will make the Pashadar respond strongly. I must continue my development before they find us." He goes to the Lord and presses him hard, and says, "Now, we'll ask questions and you must answer me, and if you do not, I cannot guarantee what will happen to your body. Do you enjoy kidnapping goblins and torturing them in secret?" The Lord tells him, "Damn it, if you speak nonsense." The leader tells him, "You are late in responding." He hits him in the ears. He screams and says, "My ears. This is very painful. Everything we do to protect humanity, fighting you, you cursed monsters, is our sacred mission." The leader of the goblins says, "For the sake of humanity, I think the truth is that you are seeking to strengthen the status of your team by constantly killing the humans who stand in your way. It is much easier than saving them, isn't it? How much human blood has been spilled to fulfill your missions under the guise of justice?" The Lord says to himself, "How does this goblin know everything about us?" The goblin leader says, "Now, the conversation is over. I am different from the others. In fact, I am an evil creature. And now, the evil creature will give you a harsh lesson." The leader goes to Ivrea to torture her while she screams, "Lord, help me." Lord, he tries to help her, but he cannot because the goblins are detaining him. Ivrea says to her, "I will return to you now what you told me. The torment has just begun. You must bear it now. Let the Lord watch carefully what a group of goblins will do to you."